The Tony Tocumbo Fernandez Show is all about promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers from across the world. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. And remember, if there's a product, service, or online campaign you would like to promote, contact us now on +44 788 2809 005. That is +44 788 2809 005. The Tony Tocumbo Fernandez Show is all about promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers from across the world. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. And remember, if there's a product, service, or online campaign that you would like to promote, contact us now on +44 788 2809 005. That's +44 788 2809 005.
A very warm welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're welcome to the Tony Tocumbo Fernandez Show, the show that promotes the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. So if there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call. The number is 0788 280 9005. That number once again is 0788 280 9005. We're always here as well to promote your products, campaigns, initiatives, and success stories of Africans and Caribbeans doing amazing work around the world. And I tell you what, we have some amazing guests lined up this year from different regions around the world. This month specifically, we're focusing on Bradford, a city in West Yorkshire, the 6th largest city in the UK, most importantly because it's bidding for the City of Culture 2025, and the month is all about promoting Bradford to the rest of the world. So we have some amazing guests lined up this month, living in Bradford, promoting true life stories and making a huge difference to people around them. And today we have an amazing guest on the show today. His name is Dr. Sohail Ahmed. He is a profound community champion, and he's been doing so many stuff in Bradford, but not just in Bradford, in different regions around the world, I suppose. And it's better that you get to hear a bit more about his story, but also his amazing organization, Bradford for Better, and the great things they do to communities in West Yorkshire and different regions. So it's so nice to meet Dr. Sohail Ahmed, a nice brother. Happy new month to you. And I hope the feed celebrations went well. And our listeners around the world are dying to know a bit about yourself, your background, and what it was like growing up in Bradford as a city.
Hi, good evening, Tony. Thank you very much for having me on the show again. Yeah, it's a pleasure as always seeing you and speaking to you and speaking to your audience around the world. So thank you very much. So growing up in Bradford, I suppose you never really know what to compare it to when it's all that you've seen really growing up. So I didn't know what else to compare it to at the time. And I mean, Bradford is a very diverse community, and I suppose when I moved away later on in life, when I went away to study, that's when I started to really reflect on what Bradford really was, and the experiences and the opportunities and the diversity that Bradford really had. And you can only know that once you have something to compare it to. So growing up, I suppose it was just home. It was just, the hills and the mills and the diversity and family You never really appreciate what you have until you don't have it and you're away. So yeah, it was a wonderful time growing up, and yeah, I wouldn't change it.
I mean, just like myself, you've lived in different cities, you've traveled around the place. And sometimes when people travel, you have a very broad insight to life. Do you find that sometimes when you've traveled and lived, I know you've traveled, you've lived, you've worked in different countries, when you come back to Bradford City itself, do you see Bradford now in a different light based on your previous travels and experiences?
Yes, absolutely. And like you say, I've traveled. I've worked in, I'd say, over 20 cities in the UK over a 10-year period, and then abroad traveled well over 35 to 40 countries. And home is always home. And I only came back 3 years ago, sorry, 4 years ago, full time to Bradford after a gap of maybe 15 years. And that was supposed to be a temporary sort of return, just to sort of spend time with my extended family, my parents. But there's always that connection. There's always that pull that you have with where you're born and where you've grown up and where your roots are, I suppose. And it's a very natural human instinct to have those roots in one place, and nowhere in the world has that same feeling and that connection. I mean, there's beautiful places all around the world. There may be better climate, there may be better scenery, better food, music, whatever. But home has always been Bradford. And I think the change for me was when I became a parent, a father. That's when it hits home that you need that stability, you need a base, you need roots somewhere for your family, for those children that you're raising. And I instinctively chose Bradford. And for the last few years, this is where I've been.
Last year was a very historic and profound year for many people in Bradford because you did something very, very remarkable. You were shortlisted amongst hundreds and hundreds of GPs around the country. I think you came to the last four best GPs in the country for the contributions you've made here in the UK. What was that feeling like for yourself, for your family, and for Bradford?
It was humbling. It really was. This profession, being a doctor, I've been doing this now for 14, 15 years, and it's such a profession, and I think it's ingrained in us. We're duty bound. We just get on and do our job. We don't sit back to look at what we've done and how we've done it. And especially when COVID hit, a lot of my background is from sort of frontline A&E, what we call acute medicine. So I've worked in kind of frontline war-torn places, refugee camps across the world, and it's just a natural extension of that emergency setting that we're trained to work in. And when COVID happened, it was just a natural instinct to get on with it. We don't wait and look for instructions. We just get on with it, and we take that responsibility. And as a community, as a surgery, my own surgery, and as Bradford for Better as an organization, we just got on with it and delivered what we could, and we took that role. There wasn't anybody guiding us, saying, well, you do this and you do that and let's do this. It was all off the cuff. It was all sort of a very, very pragmatic, and just people coming together. So at the time, I didn't really think about it much. I thought, this is a job. I'm just getting on and doing it, and I'm doing what I love doing. But as time went on, and then being nominated, and then even after the award itself, I kind of, when I speak to the people, and it's not just recognizing my contributions. I think it's a very, very proud moment for my family. for my close friends, those I've grown up with, the community that I work with. To see that pride in other people's faces on my behalf was really humbling. My family, throughout COVID, I was working 12, 16 plus hours a day, being away from my young children, from my parents. My mum is quite unwell, so I had to keep that social distance and keep that separation for a long period with my elders in my family as well. And so to be recognized and to be, appreciated, it felt like it was worth it for the family as well, to say, this is what I've been doing. A lot of times people, you don't know what you do in the background. And even within my own sort of sector of general practice, people don't really get the appreciation, I suppose, is the word. Sometimes it's just we're getting on with our job. So it really was humbling. And yeah.
I mean, that sense of duty is also reflected in an amazing organization called Bradford for Better. You're the new chairperson for Bradford for Better organization. So congratulations to you on being the new chair. For the benefit of all our listeners around the world today, can you tell us a bit about Bradford for Better organization, and also some of the amazing things they've done in recent years as well in the city and outside the city?
Yeah. So the Bradford for Better story is quite a sort of a Cinderella story, really. It's a bit of a, there was a handful of ladies in a neighborhood that wanted to make their neighborhood clean. That's all it was. They were fed up looking around and looking at all the mess on the streets, and they decided that they wanted to make a change and started getting together on a weekly basis to clean up their street. And that action, that catalyst, set off this whole sort of energy and snowball effect around other streets and other areas in Bradford. And within, I'd say, a period of 3 months, there were thousands of people across Bradford doing these street cleanups, litter picks, on a weekly basis. And it just became this movement, a community action group, completely volunteer-led, completely sort of people at the grassroots, real people out there wanting a change, wanting to make their neighborhood cleaner and have pride in where they live. And I was involved very early on, and then we kind of developed, and the concept behind it was to make Bradford better. So the reality is, when we say better can mean so many different things. For most people at that time, it was making Bradford cleaner. So we want to clean the streets. But then other people started coming into the organization saying, well, what about making the roads safer? What about the environment? What about education? What about making Bradford healthier? What about the City of Culture that's going on? How can you get involved with that? So because we had no real structure and we were completely volunteer-led, that became an advantage, because we could be flexible. We could kind of mold who we were as an organization and develop and expand our remit. So we formalized our structure in 2021 as a CIC, a community interest company, and became a more formal structure and devised our core objectives as an organization and created a committee. And those objectives have now expanded even further, and we include things like Bradford for Healthier, Bradford for Cleaner, Bradford for Greener, and we've just expanded the work we do on the back of the passion of the people that we serve, and the people of Bradford that have just this desire to make Bradford better in every way possible. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment.
Now that you have a structure in place for Bradford for Better, now that you have the manpower in place, as the new chairperson, as the organization, what are your short-term and long-term visions of this amazing organization?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have over 10,000 members, people regularly involved with the work we do all across Bradford. And I think my own passion is, again, linked to my work, is the grassroots community work, but also health and well-being. So one of my key areas of passion is making Bradford a healthier city, and making it more equal and fair when it comes to health inequalities that we face in this city. But that's me personally, and as I suppose as the chair, I can to some degree guide where the sort of focus would be. But we have, as I said, a committee, and we're quite structured now. I mean, we're all volunteers, but there's so many. All of us are professionals, and there's so many different individuals with so many different talents. From the art sector to tech, to research, to engineering, civil engineering. We've got so many different talented individuals who all have a passion. And I suppose this now stage going forward, I mean, we were kind of stagnated because of COVID, because naturally we're a grassroots organization, and a lot of our work is hands-on. It's really getting out there on the streets and making the change. So COVID kind of slowed things down for us. Now it's as though it's a fresh start for us. We're really getting out there and really sort of spreading our wings. So I suppose the next 12 months for me, and the passion is to amalgamate all those people's passion and the talent that we have, and the pool of talent, and formalize the whole energy that we have in the team, and find a structure to how we bring about change. And those people that we work with, we're partnering with so many different organizations, the NHS, we're working with the police, we're working with the council, we're working with the City of Culture. Recently, we've had 2 huge events with the City of Culture. So our passion is to include the grassroots, include the communities of Bradford, all the diverse people, all the sort of diverse communities, and be in it together, and share in the pride that we have for Bradford.
I mean, Bradford for Better organizations, they've made it to the headlines in Bradford and West Yorkshire, doing amazing stuff. And I'm very proud to be associated with you and your organization. But when you look back now, when you reflect in recent years, what would you say are your proudest achievements for Bradford for Better organization and the impact it has made in the community?
Yeah. For me, personally, I'd say it's now 2019, so what, 3 years since Bradford for Better came into kind of existence. And the reason I've taken on this role, and I'm still affiliated to Bradford for Better, is that it's maintained its grassroots connection. It's maintained that real in touch with the people, and it has a level of trust as a name, as a brand. It brings a level of authenticity, of a level of trust. People hear the name and they think, yes, these people are doing good for the sake of Bradford, for the sake of the people, for the sake of the communities. And we have that genuine sort of feel and grassroots desire, and to have maintained that and developed that over 3 years, I think really is an achievement for everybody involved. And it's something to be proud of, because very often organizations can become very kind of too big for themselves, perhaps, or too, they lose their original sort of, I suppose, objectives, or that feel that the organization originally had, and can develop into something else, or evolve, or completely mutate into something it never was in the beginning. But we've kept that level of, I suppose, the human touch and that real trust of the people. And I hope, if nothing else, we can carry that on at least. And people see in us as Bradford for Better a sense of hope, a sense of pride, and a sense of community.
I would like you to just take 2 minutes right now to speak to all our listeners around the world today and tell them why it's important for them to get involved with Bradford for You organization, why it's important to collaborate, and why is it important to be associated to make more impacts in our community today.
Yeah. So one of the most wonderful aspects of Bradford for Better is that although on the label it says Bradford for Better, you could replace Bradford with any city in the world. You know, quite literally, you could put any name next to it. And what Bradford for Better has shown, and what research and what the evidence and what the experiences in the last few years, especially through COVID, has shown, that society, the change has to come from the grassroots. The change has to come from the people, and it has to come from a genuine passion and desire. It's not bound by governments. It's not bound by legislation. It's not bound by funding. It's not bound by the financial affairs of councils and those that are seated higher up. The change actually comes from the grassroots, comes from the real people. And I think, if anything, Bradford for Better should be seen as an example, should be seen as a case study that can be replicated around the world, where a group, literally a group of people, and in this case, it was a group of women, 3 or 4 women that came together. A group of people, if they are passionate enough, and we have the resources in this day and age, like never before in the history of civilization, the social media, the technology, the resources that we have to connect people in a neighborhood, in a city. And, if we say, one of our sort of taglines is making Bradford better one street at a time. So if we think about it as a concept, we live in a neighborhood, we live in a street, we make that street better, then the neighborhood gets better, then the sort of district gets better, then the city gets better, and then the country gets better. It's kind of that effect that we can have, a vibrational effect of positive energy and belief in ourselves and pride in ourselves as people of a community, and bringing people together. So my message to everybody out there is that see Bradford for Better, see this project, see this organization as an example of what you can do anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter if it's a high-tech city somewhere in the US, or if it's a village somewhere in the Far East or in Africa or Asia. The languages might be different. The people, the clothes, the colors, the music, the temperature, the climate, everything could be different, but the human touch is always the same wherever you are in the world. We're all human, and what connects us is that bond of community. And I think if that's one thing we can take from Bradford for Better, which is a universal concept, is that sort of grassroots energy that we can energize and make this change in society.
You speak about the human touch, but let's speak about the digital touch now, for the benefit of all our listeners around the world today who want to log on to your social media handles and find out more about your brand itself. Are there any Instagram handles, websites out there that people can log on
Yeah,
to find
so
out
it's
more information?
bradfordforbetter.com, and we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Bradford for Better CIC. If you go on our website, bradfordforbetter.com, there's links on there for our social media. And again, you can see the variety of projects and initiatives that we've done over the years, and we are planning and doing at the moment as well. And all of these can be replicated in anywhere in the world. And if you need any support, if you need that advice, if you need that sort of experience, our team is more than happy to replicate and try and support anybody in any part of the world.
And I'm proud of all the amazing work you will continue to do in the society. And you will know as well as I do that in life, we don't need any permission from anyone to bring in change to any village, town, and city. And any vicinity at all can have a global brand. The sky is always the limit. On a very final note, what message do you have for all our listeners around the world today? Those in Bradford, but also those in other cities.
Well, my message would be always remain positive, and always keep looking for positive change, and surround yourself with positivity, and you'll get where you want to be in life. And lastly, I'd like to say thank you to Tony again for allowing us this platform and really being such a huge pillar for Bradford for Better behind the scenes, and actually supporting us with some of the work we've done together in recent months, and we are planning to do so. It is amazing to have a global representative supporting us as Bradford for Better. So we really appreciate that, and thank you very much.
We appreciate you too, and the journey continues in being that change we want to see in society. It's been amazing talking to you this evening, and we'll catch up with you on Friday. God bless you.
Thank you very much.